Hello, I'm Ellie. I would like to take a look at a feature which is in preview in Azure Machine Learning, how to deploy models as a service. Specifically, this is LLM models, or more precisely, you'll see it's Llama 2 models and growing. And really, it's a serverless API listener. Serverless probably as a inspiration from the development in Microsoft Fabric, where everything there is serverless, and it's slowly bleeding in back into Azure Machine Learning. So it's, as I said, it's in preview. So in the preview manager, you need to turn it on. When you click on Learn More, it'll take you to a nice post that says, oh, you thought you're going to deploy models as a service with pay-as-you-go. Really, mainly it's Llama 2 models at the moment. But it is an interesting post to read. And obviously they say, hey, look, the whole point is that you don't have to have a compute waiting in the background, constantly listening to see if there's an API calling you, or if you're doing the OpenAI, then you have got a whole service there, quite expensive one, that is constantly listening. And this post and another blog post make a big deal about the fact that it's secure, nothing is bleeding out, and it's compliant. We'll touch on the compliance in a second. But that's obviously a very important thing for when we want to do it within for our organization. However, because it's in preview at the moment, it's available only in 2 regions. I didn't check whether you can put your resource group in one region and Azure Machine Learning itself in one of these regions. I just went and created my resource group in West US 3 and then my Azure Machine Learning in the same region to keep things simple. It is important to apply content filtering, especially if you want to protect the reputation of your organization, so you don't have anything which is illegal or offensive. But sometimes you do want to turn it off. One of the reasons to turn it off is, I'm guessing it. I haven't read anywhere where information, but I'm guessing that it costs money, and especially if you've got a service that is running all the time, like a real-time endpoint, then and you add on top of that the constant cost of also content filtering, that probably accrues some costs, I'm guessing. I do find sometimes that these restrictions are too restrictive, and if I'm doing stuff for my own personal purposes, I prefer to have the ability to be more creative, especially when I'm doing the image generation. That sometimes I'm blocked from stuff that doesn't make sense. But when you do the pay-as-you-go, the serverless, you cannot really not have the content filtering at the moment in the preview. I don't know what will happen when they go to general availability. So let's have a look and see how this looks like. So one way to get at it is if you go to the model catalog, natural place, and you can go and do the Llama 2 API. You get the pay as you go, and when you go for this route, then obviously one can customize it and train it a little bit and test it and so forth. Interesting. There's another way to get at this. I find this fascinating and quite promising with regards to the direction that Microsoft is taking this particular product and features around it. So if you go to the endpoints, you have here the serverless endpoints in preview. So obviously Azure OpenAI, if you have within your resource, within your subscription already enabled the service, and you click on this, you will get, without doing anything else, you'll get immediately links to the service that they sorted out for you, or you sorted out for yourself. And if you go to the serverless endpoints, you can create as many as you like, obviously, and obviously you pay only if you use them. And if I hit create at the moment, you'll see in the list, mainly it's Llama 2 that are available, but I can see that from day to day things are being added. It's in preview, of course. And I have here Mistral and Cohere. They're not available, and I'm guessing that they are not available at the moment for me because of the particular region that I've created a resource group and Azure Machine Learning in. And then if I just select one and then just give it a name, then it starts setting it up, and after a few minutes I've got one. So if I go, let's say, to this one, the first thing that I get is information that is really important if I'm calling. I want to be able to call this as an API. So obviously the URL. I do need to add something at the end when I do the API call, and the key, naturally. And this is something that I can use also from AI Studio or any other tools that I would like to call the LLM from. And I will show you in a second how to do it from Python, just for the demonstration. Naturally, you can test it. The first thing I will do is I will set the parameters. So maybe I'll take the temperature right down and perhaps make it be a little bit more strict. And let's ask what is the distance between London and Paris. I'd be nice and put a question mark, although you don't need to. This felt like a little bit of a long wait. I get here that the distance is 344 in kilometers. Now, the first time I ran this, it gave me in miles, and then I asked it in kilometers. And now it seems to, for some reason, remember that I prefer kilometers. Naturally, any scientist prefers kilometers. I don't understand people who work in miles. And you got the answer in miles, and in other exercise, because they're very restrictive, I didn't get other answers, but I also got a few answers in the past where the distance was the distance for driving rather than the crow's fly, which is 500 and something depending on, or 400 and something depending on which route finder you use. Cool. So let's see how I actually call this API. Really what I need for this exercise is really the requests Python package to do the API call. All the rest is fluff around this. Once I get my URL, I need to add at its end this particular text. So the URL itself looks like this. The header includes the API key that I retrieved up here. I created for myself a function where all I get into the function is the prompt. I hard code the rest just for the example. And this does the post API call with the necessary information, and that's it. I'm done. I got the response. I just need now to get the relevant bit that has the text in it and format it. The rest of the JSON includes information about how many tokens were used and time and all sorts of things like that, which might be interesting for you. So if I ask what is the distance to the moon, by the way, this is the smaller model. This is the Llama 7. So it suggests the distance to the moon and then suggests other possible questions that I might ask. And if I ask it to give me a haiku about Azure Machine Learning, it starts by telling me what is Azure Machine Learning, what is a haiku, how to write a haiku, and then suggests one not that inspiring. Well, I guess there's more, but you have seen how this works. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening. Comments below. Have a good day.